I'd like to thank our reader, Gloria Nye, for the fabulous reading today, for Karen Drucker for all the beautiful, inspirational music today, and our own CSL music team as they participate every week. We're in week 5 of our This Thing Called You series, and it's that beautiful book by Ernest Holmes. We've already talked about the joy of living, about making choices and aiming to manifest what we want, about knowing that it's done unto us as we believe. And last week we talked about being captain of our soul, allowing ourselves to be guided by love and inspired by the truth of who we are. This week we continue this 2023 remarkable journey, and we learn to live from our highest and best self, by planting a garden of love, by honoring each other through love, and by being kind when we might rather be judgmental or revengeful. Our topic for today, plant a garden of love. So the question for this week is this: what is the one choice you can make today to plant a garden of love? To allow kindness and understanding to flow from your heart, and to know that the divine goes forth anew into creation through you. One more time. What is the one choice you can make today to plant a garden of love, to allow kindness and understanding to flow from your heart, and to know that the divine goes forth anew into creation through you? Loving is a lot like gardening in a lot of ways. You reap what you sow. In this philosophy where we're all one, it stands to reason that we do unto others as we want them to do unto us, and what we do unto others comes back to us and affects us in some way. So it's important that we plant a garden of love. Gardeners out there, you know that when you plant things, you believe that the seed will sprout. And it's going to sprout into what you planted, right? You don't plant squash and expect to get potatoes or carrots. That's not the way the law of planting or the law of gardening works. And I'd venture to say that you don't go digging up those seeds that you planted because they don't sprout quick enough or give you as an abundant a crop as you expected. When I was living in Kokomo, Indiana, we had a garden in our backyard, and this little girl that lived next door to us came over right before the carrots were ready to be harvested, and she dug up all the carrots. It was interesting. She was actually checking out what was underneath those seeds. If the crop isn't as good as expected, we might look at why that happened. Was it too hot or too cold? Did the plants not get enough water? Did they get too much water? The important thing is that we don't blame the plant because it didn't meet our expectations, or it didn't grow full enough or fast enough. Oh, that it be that simple with our thoughts and with relationships and with planting that garden of love in our life. Ever notice that when you get disconnected from somebody and then you want to get reconnected, so you go make an effort, and sometimes they're not ready to reconnect, and so the effort doesn't quite work, and all of a sudden, what happens? There must be something wrong with them. How could they not see that we were making an effort? And then we're off to the races. Blame, shame, anger, doubt, whatever. Imagine if we planted love the same way that we planted tomatoes or carrots, without the expectations of it returning the love that we expect it to get. What if we planted love and took the conversation we had a few weeks ago about choosing to see God in everything, and ever grew from the planning, from that effort that we made to reconnect or to be kind. Wouldn't it be fabulous if we took all those times when people didn't react the way we expected them to and just realized for both of us, the results were merely lessons, that the seeds of love were still growing, that there was a call for love in that moment, a call for more nurturing, maybe a little bit more watering with kindness. I know I used this quote from Ernest Holmes last week, but I just couldn't help repeating it this week. When the time comes that nothing goes forth from you other than that which you would be glad to have return, then you will have reached your heaven. In the reading today, Gloria read about guarding the garden of our mind, that garden of your soul where you grow your deepest desires. Doesn't everyone want more love in the world? In Science of Mind magazine in February, way back in 1994, they had a message that I would like to share. Great oaks start as small acorns. There must be a seed before there is a plant. There must be an idea before there is a form. There must be determination before there is accomplishment. And there must be good-natured flexibility in one's willingness to follow the little through to the big. We do not start at the top, but climb the ladder of life from the first rung. The law of evolution or unfoldment is in all nature. So how do we plant the seed and start that idea, that garden of love growing? Where might we be determined to have good-natured flexibility? Or who might we be to climb the ladder from the very first rung? In the Bible, it tells us that Jesus looked at the multitudes and was moved to compassion. How might we be that? When we come from our heart, we can recognize love as well as those calls for love, and we can plant kindness and understanding. Ever notice that fine line between love and blame and shame or anger? How do we shift from not getting angry when we plant love and our expectations are not met, and we really want to just allow kindness and understanding to flow from our heart in that situation? Well, first, we eliminate the ego. Think of ego as edging God out, and just stop it. We learn to follow the words of that song, stop in the name of love. Stop and see the call for love. Stop and monitor your thoughts. Maintain a strict censorship over your thinking. Stop and ask yourself, what would Jesus or Buddha or Allah or Mother Teresa do? Stop and recognize that we have no idea what kind of day or what might have happened to that particular person earlier in the day or earlier in their life. Imagine how much happier the world would be if we could actually just send out love. In our chapter from This Thing Called You this week, you might remember reading these words. The power of the Spirit, which is ever with you, is sufficient to meet your every need. If you need healing, this power can heal you. If you need happiness, the Spirit can provide it. If you need supply, the God who is ever with you can give it. No matter what situation you may be in, it can be changed. The winds of God never cease to blow. Set the sails of your hope that these winds may fill them. Learn to drink freely from the fountain of life. No matter what situation you may be in, it can be changed. Imagine if we allowed the winds of God to fill our sails each morning and believed the power of the Spirit was fulfilling our every need. Do you truly believe there would ever be a need to do anything other than plant a garden of love? Even when we were receiving calls for love, even when that little girl was pulling up my carrots. Nona Brooks in Mysteries wrote this: our attitude has all to do with determining the kind of experiences that come to us. The love attitude brings harmony of experience. The fear attitude, confusion. I don't know about you, but harmony sounds a lot better to me than confusion in my life. And we all believe in love, right? Just for a moment, ask yourself how you know love exists. Can you see it or hear it or touch it, taste it, smell it? While we might see loving gestures and hear loving words, love is a feeling, as intangible as faith and belief. And we know it exists because we've experienced it. We've felt it. I like to think of the love as the divine pouring into creation through me and through you, and I feel it. And it takes spiritual practices and learning to develop our spiritual muscle to love in all circumstances, to be aware and monitor our thoughts so that what we plant is love and kindness and compassion. Do you have what our Science of Mind writer called the good-natured flexibility, or your willingness to follow the little through to the big? Think about this. The way others on the planet experience love is by seeing it in others, by seeing it come from each of us. They experience love when they are unconditionally accepted as who they are in any given moment. Loving requires us to practice letting go of judgment and being accepting of what is as is. And this can be very challenging, especially when the what is happens to be one of those things that pushes our buttons or screams to our judgmental tendencies. Spiritual muscles require practice, so we can make progress. Consider what Holmes said about judgment. The very judgments by which we judge others becomes a self-judgment. And in New Thought, we might say it, you spot it, you got it. So get to the practice where you stop judging and decide to love. Decide to spot love so you have more of it. Plant your garden of love and then do the work to have the garden grow, to make more love in the world happen. Many of you are probably aware that we have a conference call every morning, Monday through Friday, and we start our day with prayer. I am so blessed by the calls, and I hope some of you will decide to start joining us. And I've become increasingly more aware that our morning prayers are manifesting very quickly. That group is planting a garden of love for each other every day, supporting each other in our request, and loving each other without judgments for what we're asking for prayer. I know for myself that sometimes what I see in my life is a matter of whether I am in the mood to see love. Does anyone else agree? That's why beginning my day with prayer is so essential to my building my spiritual muscle to be more loving always. Have you ever noticed in your own life that the same thing that happened yesterday or a week ago didn't trigger you then, but today it is just infuriating you for some reason? Why? Perhaps we're more tired. We might be hungry. We might have had a very challenging day. And you know what? That's no excuse. If you want to get more of love out of life and have a life that is fabulous, we have to learn to stop. We have to plant our garden of love and wait patiently for the harvest. Watering and pulling the weeds, noticing within our mind those thoughts that are judgmental or angry or irritated. And we need to love whatever stage the garden happens to be in, especially within ourselves. Forgive yourself when those anger, non-loving thoughts show up, and plant a garden of love for yourself as well. Our actions and the actions of every person on this planet, it's one of two things. It's either love or a call for love. So it's the obligation of each of us to allow the divine to move through us as we are love, to allow others to know love and to know the oneness of life through the love that we express, even when others are calling for love rather than being loving. If we want to experience more love, we need to love more. So I end with these words of Ernest Holmes, which he wrote in What Religious Science Teaches. If we look for a God of love, we must look long and deeply into each other. We must look away from the differences until we penetrate into the unity of the whole. Love alone reveals love. Hate but hides the gleam. So let us look long and deep into each other. Let us see the unity of the whole so that love might reveal itself more on this planet. So in summary, how might you remember to plant a garden of love? Love is a lot like gardening. We plant love so we can experience more love in our lives. And we have patience to let the love we plant grow. Let kindness and understanding flow from your heart. Notice love and notice those calls for love and answer both of them with kindness and understanding. Eliminate the ego. Stop edging God out. Ask, what would Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Mother Teresa do? And remember, the power of spirit is filling your cells with love. All the divine comes into creation through you. So let go of judgment. Accept what is as it is. Build that spiritual love muscle. Practice loving everything. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so easily and willingly make the choice today to plant a garden of love, to allow kindness and understanding to flow from my heart, and to know the divine goes forth anew into creation through me. And your challenge for the week? Plant a garden of love with everyone you meet and in every situation you encounter. Love no matter what this week. It might not be easy, and it is possible. And just observe yourself and others this week and learn to recognize those calls for love, both yours and theirs, and notice how you respond. As always, I invite you to just check in a couple times during the day to see how you're doing, and remind yourself to consciously plant those seeds of love and be patient as they grow. Let's pray. We take a deep, nourishing breath. We move into that place within us where the divine is truly moving into creation as us, where we feel the love, the joy, the peace, the ease, the comfort, the safety. And we know that as individual expressions of the divine, that we are all of that. And we have all the love within us that we need to answer any call for love with love. So what I know to be the truth is that we are totally aware this week of what is happening in our surroundings, of when there is a call for love, when we are calling for love, and we are answering all of those calls from a loving heart with kindness and understanding. I am so grateful to know that we are allowing the Spirit to fill ourselves with love, to have us blow the winds of love across this planet. And it's from that gratitude that I release this prayer into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing the truth that right where we are, God is. And that divine has already said yes to these prayer requests, already called them good and very good. So I say amen, and we affirm it together. And so it is. And I am so grateful for everyone that is continuing to support us financially, support us with our calls in the morning, support us on Wednesdays by participating in the meditation. It is an absolute fabulous time of year, a time when we can see the seeds of love being planted all around. Just imagine if every seed that was planted to be a flower, you planted a seed of love. Again, thank you for your support. Enjoy our offertory song.